Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday. I don't know what happened. Hump day. I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. And I have brought a friend of mine, Nancy Ruffner, on with Better Know Healthcare. Nancy, why don't you introduce yourself and what it is exactly that we're doing? Because we've been chatting all week, but I want people to really get a good feel for what it is that Nancy does.
Sure. And I appreciate being here. I always like talking with Haley. My name is Nancy Ruffner, and I'm a board-certified patient advocate, but I'm also a small business coach that focuses on small business healthcare. I'm especially proud of the both tagline and business name, Better Know Healthcare, because it's a double entendre. So, we got to make it fun. Double entendre, we can all better know healthcare. It's also a cautionary tale. You better know healthcare. So I have fun playing in my head coming up with those two things. I help people to gain new clients and grow their businesses, focusing especially in the healthcare niche. I do that through one-to-one coaching and also group coaching.
And I am playing the share game in the background. And this to me is such kind of an important thing because we started a conversation. Somebody else started a thread and said, what do you need in your business?
Yeah.
And I always see the answer, I need more money. Money. And like every other response is, I need money. So I'm going to guess money is maybe a tiny bit of a concern for people in their businesses. Maybe.
Well, sure it is. I mean, I work with an awful lot of people that are new in business, young in business. Maybe their business isn't where they want it to be or had expected it that it would be by now. Mm-hmm. Many people are experiencing some stagnancy relative to the impact of COVID on their small business. Mm-hmm. And so, sure, money is a big concern. A lot of people have left high-paying, big systems, big employer, big box jobs to hang out their shingle and, especially in healthcare, to use their tremendous talent to help other people. Mm-hmm. And they're nervous. It's a big leap. Quantum leap doesn't even do it justice. Mm-hmm. They're all in. Now, I respect that. I respect it when people are all in.
Yeah.
But there's a tiny bit of us at times that kind of looks back a little bit wistfully. What did I do?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
I went from that like steady paycheck. I had income. I knew what my hours were going to be.
Yeah.
My boss was less of a bitch. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
We're working for ourselves, we're doing all the stuff. And, when you're first starting that business, and even after you started that business, you may be working 18 bajillion Brazilian hours, and money is still terrifying.
It is. I think it's terrifying in that we're having to manage it. Instead of just being the receiver, we're also the doler a lot of times. We're paying bills that we never saw before that were handled by our employer. Mm-hmm. Health insurance for one of them. We didn't see the true cost of that. We didn't see 33% that were our benefits when we were with big employers. And then, month to month, meeting projections, if you've even taken the time to set goals and projections. A lot of people haven't, they're just in it. And so it's a concern, and bills come due. And
they totally do.
We're not only generating them, we're paying them too. And it's just a little closer to home.
Oh, it's a lot closer to home because you see that money come in, and there's kind of two factors with that money, right? You've got to bill people and you got to get paid. And then that money comes in and it goes right back out, or it can go right back out if you're not careful.
Sure. I mean, there's been plenty of times, and plenty of people experience this, but lots of times, and when I was early in my patient advocacy business, that it was time for money to go out, but I was also trying to get money in real quick. That cash flow, that is scary. It's real scary. It's what my grandmother used to call being in a tight. I was in one. I'll call it a vice clamp now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You feel like you're, robbing Peter to pay Paul sometimes, and money becomes a massive consideration in business.
It does. And I think that I'm among those who may have not. I thought I had my eyes wide open. I know I'm pretty intelligent, capable, but I'm wondering, looking back in that rearview mirror that is so clear and the hindsight that is so 2020, I'm wondering, if I really had my expectations right.
So what do you think contributes to the whole especially with practitioners and health coaches not having enough money? So what do you think what's causing that?
Well, fundamentally, our beliefs about money, whether it's personal finance or business finance, it's very Maslowian. It's right to home and shelter and food, and for a lot of people. And when they don't have enough of that, they see their well-being threatened. And so it's something that rides around in our heads all month long. And it comes to the forefront when it's time to pay out. And so it's with us. We carry it. If we've got some money mindset issues that we've brought with us from way back that may not be serving so well, then that is salt in wound.
Yeah, no, in it, it's like gliding down a razor blade into a pool of alcohol. Sometimes it is sharp and it is painful and it doesn't stop stinging.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but there's a lot of things that you can do to alleviate your fear and to manage your emotions about it. And that's taking a look at, what is the origin of this feeling? Is this fear? Is this anxiety? Does this have remedy? What do I need to know or learn? And I think also just not only going back about what the origin is, but then taking a look at whether or not that still serves you. Somebody told me one time that they had been admonished by their grandparent. They were 4 years old and they were admonished for not bringing back the right amount of change. And they'd been sent to go get a ice cream cone from the dairy bar, and they either didn't get the right amount of money back or something, but granddaddy wanted that money and the child didn't have it, and got a talking to relative to money management, handling money, and then those things, and it scarred. I don't think either intended it to be, but it did, and it followed that person throughout their life, into their adult life, into their business life. It's a tender spot.
Yeah, it totally can be. And there's a lot of different layers of the whole money thing in business. It's getting clients and understanding what the right activities are, that shortest path to getting clients. Because if you don't have money coming in, it's really hard to have enough money in business.
That's true. And with a lot of the folks that I work with in terms of operations and cash flow and money and their feelings about it, it's also, there's a lot of ease with having a process and with and putting a process and systems together that will handle that will manage that money. as it flows in and flows out. And with that, you can manage your emotions about that money coming in and going out. So I think people are made more comfortable with processes, and to the degree that they want to or can understand it, then beginning to use some tools.
Yeah.
We all grew from our checkbook to other tools to help us manage money, but we still use that checkbook when we have to.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, money doesn't have to be a terrifying thing in business. It can be the most fun thing ever. My husband will tell you that he thinks I'm kind of a raving loon some days, because when I get paid, I dance around the living room or around my office and through the kitchen and kind of do a mini dance through. So there's this whole like celebration around it. But it can be, one of those things that I see it over and over again, where business owners really freak out about it. And they freak out about charging enough.
Yes. There's a lot of insanity in small business and early, startup, the early years. We're not charging enough for the things that we are experts at, or we're doing work unpaid, not charging for it, which is just.
Or we're discounting it because somebody said, hey, can you discount this further? And you're like, maybe I should give you a better deal. Maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, or maybe that's not your right client. The lesson to be learned there is the one that's trying to talk you down
may not be the right client.
That's right. And so a certain amount of us take our lumps and move on. That showed me never to do that again, or, I need to learn. I can remember trying to learn some phrases when folks would begin to try to negotiate. and it helped me to, have words from other folks.
Yeah.
And then to say them, just that's my line, that's my cue, that's my line. Now I say this to keep and steer the conversation back to the value at hand. Here's the, here's what we got for you.
Yeah, and this is a good comment, Tish, and I think I would add on to this. The friends and family discount should not be applied to every client. In fact, I've gotten to the point now where I don't apply a friends and family discount to anybody because I'm already pricing my services appropriately. So discounting further means that I can't pay my bills.
Absolutely. And the thing behind that too, the willingness to, or the even the contemplation that you're going to give a friends and family discount is the thinking behind that one of worth and value. Maybe I spend a lot of time going back with folks to, let's talk about your value. Let's talk about your chops. Let's talk about what you bring to the table. Because a lot of times we absorb their anxiety and we want to get it done, or we're desperate because we need another client. And we've
got a bill to pay.
We start selling out. And that's it's important to notice when we do. It's okay. I've done it. But I notice it now. I'm like, I've been at this intersection before. Here's what I can do, or here's something I need to work on. Here's something, a place, an intersection, a juncture that needs some repair in my process.
Yeah. And Tish, this is a really good one. One thing I have learned as an entrepreneur is that you do not price your product or service based on what is in your wallet.
Truer words.
Very true. Yes.
That's absolutely right.
And you don't accept a client based on what's in your wallet either. How many of us have taken that nightmare client? I've done it. Yeah.
I think recently a friend of mine that was in the home care industry, we were having a conversation about a client who was presenting some challenges, and they were going, the smallest client are the ones that are the most difficult and that you work the hardest for, and that suck your time, suck your joy factor out. And that's when that's telling you, that's not your ideal client. That's not the person that you want to work with. Identify what's right and wrong with that client, and know next time going in, eyes wide open.
Absolutely. And I mean, and that's the challenge, and I mean, the good thing about this is every time we make those mistakes, and I say we because I've done it over and over again, because I can be slow to learn, we learn and we pick up and we go and we learn, okay, well, in the case of home care, maybe I have a minimum number of hours for a client, or I have a minimum price that they have to pay. Or, there are certain things. So if you have that client who only wants an hour a day, well, they may be paying $50 an hour for that hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if they're copacetic with that, then, hey, we can work around that. But if they're not willing to deal with that, then they can move on to the next person. Because staffing a 1 hour client is like the literal definition of nuts.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think that we just hitting intersections like this, thinking about it, talking about it, soundboarding with somebody else, asking other people, have you dealt with this? How did you deal with this? This is part of growing our gut, and because we want our guts to sing. Mm-hmm. We want our antenna to go up when, whoa, we're here. We're right back here at this intersection again. But this time I know what to do.
Yeah. And this is why you need a coach. And this is why you need business besties who are also in the industry.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that I decided when I began coaching the healthcare and small business, especially, is where I want to stay, because I have bootstrapped and guerrilla marketed my way through the patient advocacy agency that I own. And I feel called now to give back to small business. This is where very few people are teaching this to small business.
Yeah, no, I remember being in home care, did that for 3 years, and nobody was teaching that.
Mm-hmm. It's new. It's a new form of advocacy for me. I really feel that mm-hmm. The small business person is needed. The healthcare person's needed, and we need to get people up, ready, out there, serving and sustaining. Scaling.
Yeah. And this is a good one. It's hard sometimes, especially if you're struggling to decide to let the wrong client go, but bless and release and move on. Yeah. The wrong client, but they're paying the bills. Oof. That's hard.
It's a compromise.
It is a compromise. And sometimes you deal with, clients that are a little bit more difficult and maybe get them over a hump. And then once you get them over a hump, they're fine. Yeah. Some clients are going to perpetually be difficult, and you've got to make that not so great determination. Is this a good one, or is this one going to be the perpetual pain in the butt?
Right. You have to make a decision and stand by it and live with it. It was the right decision, right thing to do for me and my company.
At this time, not always the easiest decision. Yeah.
It was a phenomenal day in my life, even prior to, decades ago, when I realized that I didn't have to accept a client, and that I had one that I needed to terminate the relationship with that client. That was astounding. It was hard to sit in it and stand in it, and finally I sat in it and I stood in it, and I said, this is what's right for me and for my client. And we decided not to move on. And in looking back, right thing to do. Comfort.
Absolutely.
Ease. Peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Bless and release is absolutely right. Sometimes you have to move on. And let's talk about desperation for a minute.
Oh, yes. The internal compromise. My decisions that I made early in business may not be the ones that I make now. There were different forces working on me at a greater degree. And early in business, I'd say money, cash flow was a big one of them. Now it's not so much. I have a different set of challenges and circumstances. So there'll always be something to work on. And the factors are changing too. Would I turn down a client in May of 2021? Likely. Would I have turned down a client in March of 2020 as COVID was manifesting and my business was really, really, really dropping? Really dropping. For a patient advocate, it was interesting in our world because all of a sudden, no longer could we go to emergency rooms and accompany folks to medical appointments because they weren't happening. And we couldn't get into skilled nursing and we couldn't get into senior housing, and folks didn't want you at the kitchen table. No vaccine yet. Didn't matter how much PPE you had. It was a good idea for them to limit the people that were coming in and out of their house. And so our business was dropping. We were changing too. Their needs, their physical needs, their mental health needs were still there. We had to change our delivery. And while we were pivoting, as well, the client's needs marched on. So we had to find a different way to serve. Yeah, would I have said no to a case in those rocky months? Different factors, sorting by different factors.
Absolutely, yeah. And I posted did you register for the workshop, y'all? The workshop, I just posted it in the comments. I've posted it pretty much everywhere. So register and, get it. And so Joan asked the question, what do you recommend for starting several streams of cash flow?
That's a good question. Myself, personally, I wanted to master the main one I had. Wanted to.
Amen.
I wanted to make sure of that. Multiple streams of income has always interested me once I figured out that there were some. Once I learned about some of that. But yeah. I need to really stay focused on my core competency first, and then add on to that when the time seems right. But I can't let my core business suffer.
Yeah, no, and that's always my advice too. I mean, oh, good, we're playing Bounce the Rubies on StreamYard.
Yeah, what satellites?
I love it when StreamYard does it.
Yeah, that's okay. I got what you said, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, bouncies. Yeah, so. Multiple streams sounds really good, but you got to master the first one first.
And I think too, for me, because I'm interested in a lot of things and I love to learn, the information sponge standing before you, that to me, another business idea is like, what is it? Shiny. I would be easily distracted by that. I have to bring myself back to the focus that's the bulk of my income and that needs my attention now. I do hope to expand to some other things. The coaching that I'm doing now and the teaching and public speaking that I do is an expansion from my patient advocacy business. So when the time is right and the conditions are right, we can make that happen.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, 1,000%. I have no trouble with multiple, streams of income. Mm-hmm. Gotta love them. They're amazing when the time is right.
Yeah, it's easy, I think, for me if I'm feeling, lacking, not enough coming in, still kind of rocky, then that looks like a juicy tidbit, and it's very attractive to me. Very attractive. But that may be the dessert, but the main dish still needs work. It's going to have the same problems and needs and processes until I fix it. Until I fix it and get that smooth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Louder for those in the back, please. Seriously. I mean, you hear a lot of people who, talk about multiple streams of income, and it is impossible to multitask, as our poor little human brains don't do a very good job of it. So multiple streams of income, trying to bring two things up at the same time is almost impossible. Not that it's not doable, not that there isn't 1% of people that can master it, but.
And not that there's not merit in that idea, because there likely is, or you wouldn't be considering it. Because we're a bunch of entrepreneurs. We're a bunch of small business people. We got smarts. Of course it's interesting.
We've got great ideas.
Yeah.
The problem is not the shortage of ideas.
Yeah. It's implementation. Yeah, that's true.
So what can people expect out of your workshop?
Love this one. This is what can hold a practitioner back, and we talk about 11 different points for your consideration that may be affecting you in business. Things that you will hear yourself in my workshop. I talk about some things that I have had to work on and still do, but they're challenges that we encounter. Some of them are mindset challenges. Some of them are expectation challenges, and so we cover some challenges. Well, let's say struggles, but I go straight to solution. I don't like to sit in a problem very long. I'll recognize that I have that or carry that, but I'm all about the solution. And so I provide what's called U-turns, and we talk about some ways to work through it and get over it. You may also see some things in there that you've already mastered. And so it's a good workshop for folks to kind of confirm or deny. Yeah, that was me, and I'm past it. Or, this one kind of hurts.
This one got me.
Yeah.
Straight through the heart.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I feel like it some days, some of the things we've been talking about. Oh, and I'm like, oh, I did that.
It's true.
Did that one too.
Yes, and that's me.
That one. And yep, that was me. Every single one of your points, I think, is something I have done at least twice.
Well, I got you beat there.
I said at least. I'm not going to own up to exactly how many times I've made some of these mistakes and done some of these things.
Yeah, but I think the overall flavor is one of coming out of a problem and staying in the solution. And then, looking back, hey, I have done some stuff. Okay. Okay, great. Here's 11 things. I really only need to work on a couple of them. There's a lot of validation. There's a lot of validation.
Yep. I totally agree. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. Yeah. Y'all register for the workshop. You won't regret it. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it too. Having done all of these mistakes and still learning. So register. Give us a hashtag registered if you registered. Share this to your friends. Share the link. We would appreciate it. It's all good. Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we will talk soon. Thanks.